greatest capacity that Exeter City have seen in the last couple of seasons. You can probably hear that the two sets of players are making their way out onto this perfect St James Park pitch. Plymouth Argyle in their change strip of green and white, Exeter City in the red and white stripes. Let's hand you across to our commentary team then for this afternoon's game. We've got Seth Conway and Tom Harris in amongst the fans pitch side, but alongside Steve Tully, former Exeter City defender, and Sean McCarthy, former Pilgrim striker. It's Alan Richardson.
Many thanks, Charlie. Welcome along to St James Park, as Charlie was saying. Both sets of players just coming out, lining up in front of us, and just below us we see the man perched underneath the stand here at St James Park. The big bank away to our right-hand side, and over to the left is the 1,000, 1,500 Plymouth Argyle fans, who of course sold out their allocation in a little more than an hour when they went on sale. And that was more than a month ago, at a time when Argyle really weren't playing catch-up with Exeter City. Back-to-back wins for the Pilgrims, back-to-back defeats for the Grecians. If results go Argyle ways this afternoon, then it will be Argyle who will be higher in the table come 3 o'clock this afternoon. There have been some dramatic meetings, of course, here over the years. The last 9 times these teams have met, there has been a result one way or another. Argyle have won 5, Exeter City have won 4. The Pilgrims' last win here, the last time they met, that 2-0 victory on their way to promotion, after which Derek Adams famously said that Plymouth is green. Steve Tully alongside me this afternoon. What colour is Devon going to become at 3 o'clock this afternoon?
Hopefully it'll be red, so I think that's the biggest thing. I think if it's red it'd be great, but for me it's all about the start. I think the first 10-15 minutes of a local derby, make sure you keep 11 on the pitch, and let's see how it unfolds. So really looking forward to it. It's a great atmosphere, the pitch is immaculate, can't wait.
Sean, they've picked a 35-year-old left back who's barely played this season, Craig Woodman. What do you think Ryan Lowe will have said to his men about that?
Attack him, you've got to have a go at him. It's rained all morning here. The pitch, as Tully just said, is fantastic, but there's going to be mistakes on this pitch. It's wet, it's sliding tackles, there'll be a few in. The referee will have to be on his toes. It's a full house, the Argyle fans are still pouring in, and it's got the makings of a great game, and I just think there's going to be mistakes. It's the team that make the least mistakes are going to win this game today.
Let's get a final feel from what the roving and Mike reporters are feeling. Tom Harris is down towards the Argyle end. How are they down there at the moment, Tom?
The Argyle fans today are absolutely bouncing. They sold out their allocation for this fixture in less than an hour's time. They're absolutely bouncing. The fans are all behind the lads. Argyle playing in our wicket today. You know, they're looking for the likes of Joel Grant against his old club to really come up and show them what they're missing. Argyle fans, as you can hear, a really good voice. It's going to be a bumper fixture, one of the biggest in years.
Tom Harris will be keeping an eye on what's happening down that end of the pitch as well. For us, Seth Conway's nearer the big bank, and they're making plenty of noise down that end as well, Seth.
They certainly are, Alan. The largest standing terrace in the Football League is alive today. They're eagerly anticipating this Devon derby. They want it to go red come 3 o'clock today, and as we prepare for kick-off, the big bank is in great voice.
Well, Darren Drysdale is our referee this afternoon. This will be his 16th game of the season so far. He's managed to keep a clean sheet, as it were, on 57 yellows, 1 red. The ball is on the centre spot. We will be underway very shortly. And Joel Grant, who of course played in 3 of these derbies in his time, won 1, lost 1 in his time at Exeter City, gets us underway. And Argyle in their change strip, it's still predominantly green, are kicking from left to right in this first half. But the ball goes out of play. It's a throw-in down the right-hand side for Exeter City. They go up towards the halfway line, and the ball's loose just momentarily, and it needed turning up at the back there. Tom Parks just had to be alert as Joel Grant was looking to go sprinting forward. Couldn't get on the end of it. Now Randell Williams has it, and he plays it into the centre circle area. First touch for Craig Woodman, the man who's come in at left back this afternoon. Ball over the top, looking for the run of Lee Martin. Nicky Law gets a little snap, gets into the path of the captain, Jake Taylor. Taylor's strong, he holds off one man, gets a shot away, it's deflected. That should be a corner. Well, the referee's given a goal kick. It's certainly nicked off a defender right in front of the referee. Exeter City have taken it over to the corner flag, and I think he's had a shout here from the touchline. That seemed to be the gesture that was coming penalty area, tidied up once more by Jake Taylor. Gives it back to Woodman. Woodman, first time towards the edge of the penalty area. It's a good ball out to Randell Williams. Williams, clever ball now for Lee Martin. That shot's charged down. Ball back for Martin. Has another go and just hits the stanchion on top of the crossbar on his way out of play and behind for a goal kick. Tom, your thoughts on the early exchanges there?
I mean, it was definitely...
Yeah, I think that Exeter made the better start. They just caught Argyle napping there. They took a short free kick, and it's come back to the lad Williams, who's played Lee Martin in, who's tried a shot on the turn, got blocked, and just hit it against the side netting. So it's Exeter City that have started the game the brightest so far in the first couple of minutes.
Let's have the goal kick then for Argyle, and it will be taken by Alex Palmer in an all-black kit this afternoon. He gets a good distance on it as well, and Argyle have it inside the Exeter City half of the pitch in the form of Joel Grant. Stabs it out to Joe Edwards, who's expecting twins any time now. Joe Riley, good challenge coming in from him, from Craig Woodman there. All ricochets back into the centre circle. It's picked up once more by Argyle. All out to the right-hand side now. And into the edge of the area from Riley. Twist and turn on the edge of the area, but that is charged down. It should be cleared away now by Exeter City. Get it up towards the halfway line. Little nudge coming in the back of Ryan Bowman. Referee are happy to play on, and Joe Riley gets it on now. George Cooper just goes down, and he was fouled there by Jake Taylor is the decision, and it's going to be a free kick. Your thoughts, Steve?
Yeah, to be fair, it's interesting. We thought that Exeter might go in with a 4-3-3, but they haven't. They've matched them up. I think it's definitely a 3 at the back and a 5 in midfield, with Craig Woodman playing as a left wing back. So with the 2 up front with Lee Martin and Bowman, with Nicky Law just in behind. So they've matched them up. It's 3-5-2 against 3-5-2. Who's going to come out top?
Well, we'll find out. George Cooper's got a wand of a left foot, as Leighton Orient found out to their cost on Tuesday. He made 3 of the 4 goals there. He's got a free kick now. It's a long way out, 30 yards out. Wall formed, and they're going to run into the penalty area as the ball's lifted towards the back post. A little bit of pushing going on in there, but referee is happy. Play to continue, and City come away with possession. Sweeney, good ball forward, looking for the run of Nicky Law, going quickly down the right-hand side now. We'll keep that one in front of the Stagecoach stand. Over comes the cross. It's a brilliant one as well. It's a free header at the back post, and he should have done better there, Ryan Bowman. He's got it a long way wide in the end, Steve.
It was a great chance, to be fair. Exeter broke really quick there, 4 against 2 at one stage. It was a good ball in, and Nicky Law's picked up Bowman at the far stick. All he's got to do is hit the target. I'm sure he scores. He's just missed time to jump.
Tom Harris, that action was down your end. Your view of that one?
Must go down as a sitter. He's free at the far stick. Just a brilliant counter-attack from Exeter. Really worked well on the right-hand side with Law. And Law's got the experience to hit it into the back post and find his man. And all you're asking is to work the goalkeeper to hit the target. Exeter should be 1-0 up in this fixture. What a big chance.
Goal kick is taken by Exeter City, who battle away for possession now inside the centre circle. Jake Taylor just calms things down, gives it out to the right-hand side, and Sweeney's a nudge in the back there on Ryan Bowman, surely right in front of the referee, but Mr Drysdale, perhaps not wanting to get too whistle-happy in the early exchanges here, allows play to continue, and Parks will go back and hook that one up towards the halfway line, where Williams gets a little flick on, and Edwards clears down that left-hand channel from an Argyle point of view. Can't be kept in by the Scott's Loney, Zach Rudden down that left-hand side, and it will be a throw-in then for Exeter City. Let's get the early thoughts here of Seth Conway, who's down by the Exeter City fans.
Well, it's a great atmosphere down here, Alan. The Exeter fans are bang up for this one, and they are enjoying some decent possession for Exeter City. That Ryan Bowman chance, the angle that I had on it, it just, as he came into it, it looked as though he didn't quite judge the flight of the ball well. It dipped on him at the last minute, but still, with a firm forehead on that, that should have been 1-0.
Not quite sure what the wind is doing around the ground. Of course, that's always the big worry, isn't it, for strikers when the crosses come in. It may just have changed course at the last moment, but seemed a disappointing finish. Now it's a free kick here for Pierce Sweeney, just inside the City half of the pitch. He gets up towards the edge of the area where they win the first header to City. Nicky Law will keep it in down by the corner flag, gets it back to Craig Woodman. Lovely skills by Woodman to get it to Taylor, tries to zip it in towards Nicky Law. That's broken up though by the expectant father Joe Edwards. Good battering play by Pierce Sweeney. Took 2 to stop him, but Argyle can look to break here quickly. Little foul, little nibble coming in there from the retreating Pierce Sweeney. Mr Drysdale wants a word with the Irishman. Sean, your thoughts on what we've seen so far?
Well, it's a great start, absolutely fantastic start. I think all the fans are in now, and they're witnessing a fantastic game. I mean, both teams are up for it. The pitch does make it more exciting also, but my thoughts in the first 5 or 6 minutes, it should be 1-0 up to Exeter. Nicky Law is the Danny Mayer, if you like, of Plymouth Argyle. He's a very good player. You have to keep him quiet or he's going to hurt you. He's put a great cross into the back post, and Bowman really should be scoring there, and Exeter should be 1-0 up. He should be hitting the target, and they should be 1-0 up. Unfortunately for Argyle, it's still 0-0.
Here's Sweeney just getting away with a talking to. The free kick has been taken and wasted, and it's a throw-in down the left-hand side now for Craig Woodman, deep inside the Exeter City half of the pitch. He puts it straight onto the head of Joe Riley, the Argyle right wing back, and the ball is now out for a throw-in right in front of Ryan Lowe, who's not sat down as of yet. Nice skills from Lowe to get into the path of Craig Woodman, who's perhaps only 5 years his junior. Quickly taken throw-in from him, and now City can work it across their back line. Archie Collins helps it on to Sweeney. That's a good ball down the channel from Sweeney, looking for the run of Randall Williams. He just couldn't quite seem to work out exactly where it was as he was looking over first the left shoulder and then the right. It's overhead in the end, and it goes out of play. It'll be a throw-in for Argyle down in their left back position.
Just think the wind, as you mentioned about the wind earlier, I just think it's swirling, and I think it's just making conditions a little bit difficult, and I think that was the problem then with the ball down to Williams, and just weren't quite sure what the wind was doing when it went out for a throw-in.
Do you think that was a factor with the Bowman header as well?
Possibly, but I mean, where he was, he's got the goal right in front of him. He's inside the 6-yard box. You can't miss chances in Devon, well, any derby or any game in them situations. He has to put that away.
Well, he's the top scorer with 5 so far this season, but it's not exactly a prolific return from Ryan Bowman, who's a real hard worker, but sometimes his best work is done setting up teammates, the likes of Nicky Law and Jake Taylor. Argyle in danger of just being dallying at the back, but they do manage to clear their lines. It'll be a throw-in to be taken by Aaron Martin down this left-hand side. Craig Woodman currently further up the pitch. Throw goes back to Johnny Maxted, who's not been tested in the opening stages here. In fairness, neither is Alex Palmer, although he should have been with that Ryan Bowman chance 3 or 4 minutes ago. Exeter City 0, Plymouth Argyle 0 so far here at St James Park. Steve, your thoughts on the first 8 minutes?
Yeah, to be fair, what I like is that both teams are trying to play. I think that's the biggest thing. It's like, I think Sean's already said about the conditions and that, but to be fair, both teams are trying to get the ball down and play, which it makes that to be a good game, and they're trying to play on the floor, and it's going to be a good game. Who's going to break first is going to be the big thing. So, and discipline of both players. So I like the way both teams have set up and tried to play, and Exeter needs to try and get on that front foot.
If you weren't with us a little bit earlier, you may have twigged from a conversation that we were having up here that we do have 1 or 2 technical problems, which means the two summarisers can't hear each other. We can certainly hear Steve calling for offside. It has been given in the end against Joel Grant, but of course referees' assistants are always told to think about it and flag late, as it were, but Grant was clearly in an offside position. It will be a free kick to be taken by Johnny Maxted in his light blue kit this afternoon. In case you missed the team news, plenty of changes for City, 6 in all from the side that were beaten 3-1 against Scunthorpe. I'll run through both sides for you when we do have a break in play, if we ever have such a thing. There's a brave header coming in from Jake Taylor. He was really stooping in. I think the referee's quite right here. Just a calming word maybe for Anthony Sarcevic. I'm not quite sure. Josh Grant has also gone down in a separate incident. I don't know whether you saw what happened there, Tom.
I'm not too sure. There was 2 incidents. Grant was the first one, and the second one, it was a 50-50 between Sarcevic and the Exeter player. I mean, you see them giving us a high foot, but it was a bit 6 2/3 really, between high foot and someone putting their head quite low. But 50-50, Argyle looking to get up the pitch now. They need to take something to Exeter, because Exeter providing all the problems in this game.
Ryan Bowman flicking the ball on into the path of Nicky Law. It's a lovely ball to Jake Taylor now. He's got options down the right-hand side. Randall Williams is always dangerous, and Williams now with a chance to test out McFadzean's mettle as a defender. Gets to the byline, gets the cross in. Well charged down though by McFadzine, and then Lee Martin can't come across to pick up the loose pieces, and Argyle will get up towards halfway line and sack Rudden. And as Steve was saying, it was 2 against 2 momentarily. I think Joel Grant may have gone too early. Referee keeps his flag down, but the ball's over hit. Grant coming down to the corner flag now, getting the boost from from the big bank. Of course, he left City a couple of seasons ago to Argyle when Argyle were promoted. The cheers will tell you that Craig Woodman's got his body in front of him, nicked the ball away. But City don't clear their lines properly. It's picked up now by Joe Riley. Good challenge coming in by Craig Woodman.
Great defending, 1v1.
Yes, well, he's showing what he can do is Craig Woodman. He's towards around about the 280 appearance mark now for Exeter City. He's certainly been involved in one or two derbies in his time as well. I think this is his 9th so far. 1-3, lost 4. And Woodman breaks up the play again to loud cheers from the big bank behind him. Argyle attacking the big bank in this first half, but it's Exeter City going forward at the moment. Space for Nicky Law to move into. Law, Randall Williams, was he hauled down? Yes, he was. Very unnecessarily, as it turned out. And now Ryan Bowman having a word with the referee, has pushed him away. City unhappy, yellow card coming in, and they can have no complaints about that one. Your view of that one, Tom?
Well, it's a brilliant attack, and Nicky Law, as we said earlier, is creating everything. It's a lovely slid free ball, and Randall Williams made the effort to make the run off the ball, and it just looked like a tussle together between. I'm not quite sure what Argyle player it was who's just gone into the book, but it definitely stopped an attacking chance. And now Exeter have a free kick, I'd say about 25 yards out. It favours the left footer. Randall Williams and Nicky Law stepping up to take it. Be interesting to see how Argyle defend this one.
Well, defend it they must. They're forming a wall quite some way inside their own penalty area. It's a little bit to the right of centre, so Randall Williams addressing it with his left foot. Nicky Law, though, may be favourite just a couple of steps away to the right-hand side. Craig Woodman has only scored once in his Exeter City career, but it was an absolute peach, and he has got a very good left foot on him as well, just being told to move away from this situation, so it will be either Williams or Nicky Law. It's a 5-man Argyle wall with a 6th man there or thereabouts as well. Williams takes it straight into the wall. That's charged away, and Exeter City come up with it again with Woodman down the left-hand side. Plays a quick 1-2 with Aaron Martin, but his ball forward is headed away by Joe Riley, and it drops it into the path now of Zach Rudden. Rudden, on loan from Glasgow Rangers, gets it down the right-hand channel for Argyle, but it's broken up by City once more, and they get it forward. Josh Grant with some work to do at the back 3 now for Argyle. The one change for the Pilgrims this afternoon. Canavan rolls it out to the left-hand side, and the captain, Gary Sawyer, former Exeter City man, of course. Now the ball goes down that left-hand channel, and Joel Grant, who I think most of the big bank will remember as a former Exeter City man, can't keep that one. So just to run through the two sides, if you did miss it earlier, Johnny Maxwell in goal, Piers Sweeney is fit and starts, Craig Woodman comes in and left back. There's no Jack Sparks in the 18 today. Aaron Martin, Lee Martin, Nicky Law, Randall Williams, Ryan Bowman, Tom Parks, Jake Taylor the captain, and Archie Collins. Argyle today just the one change. Josh Grant comes in for the suspended Scott Wootton. Alex Palmer in goal, Joe Riley, Gary Sawyer, Niall Canavan, Anthony Sarcevic, Joe Edwards, Joel Grant, Callum McFadden, George Cooper and Zach Rudden. We'll run through the substitute options for both sides as well when there's a break in play, which we certainly haven't had. It's been a really exciting start to this Devon derby without, I suppose, actually, Sean, any serious chances apart from that Bowman header.
Yeah, only the one chance really. Lee Martin has had a half shot which was blocked, and just a header really that in the first couple of minutes at Exeter really should have been 1-0 up. But an absolutely fantastic game, a great credit to both teams. The atmosphere is electric. You can hardly hear yourself think, let alone speak, and let's hopefully we'll get more of it. Argyle, did start okay, and Exeter just slowly getting on top. And I think Nicky Law, he's the main man for Exeter, and he's starting to get on the ball more often than not. So Argyle just need to keep an eye on him. And Ryan Lowe's shouting on instructions, and that's probably what he's saying. He's drifting all over the place. Nicky Law, he's on the right, he's on the left, he's in the middle, and he can cause Argyle problems.
That's a dangerous header back into his own penalty area there by Gary Sawyer, but fortunately it was tied away by Niall Canavan. The ball goes out of play. Steve Tully, would you go along with that? Exeter City ahead on points at the moment?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've tried to really squeeze them up. I can see Exeter's back line really squeezing up to the halfway line and saying, go on then, put the ball in behind us, because I don't think they're going to do us for pace. And I look at Plymouth's front line, and I don't think they will threaten them. So Exeter really trying to squeeze the life out of Plymouth at mine by squeezing them in one half and really try and put the pressure on them. But I like the way they've played. They've played really well. They've tried to mix it up by getting it wide to Randall Woody here on the left-hand side, and just try and find little pockets for Lee Martin and Nicky Law. I think the biggest thing for me is when Lee Martin drops off, Nicky Law is quite happy to go and be that second centre forward and run in behind. So it's interesting to see how Plymouth deal with that.
Ball cleared away by Exeter City, and it's helped out to that right-hand side. And as Sean was saying a moment ago, Nicky Law popping up everywhere as a right winger at this particular moment. He has been stopped, but Piers Sweeney will back him up, and City will go back into their own half of the pitch now. Tom Parks, he'll help it out to the left-hand side, and Aaron Martin invites Joel Grant to come towards him before playing it back inside into Craig Woodman, who tries to play it down that left-hand channel. It is a good ball. I don't think that Ryan Bowman realised how he was going to hold up in the wind there, Steve, because actually it came back towards him, and they didn't really commit there, Exeter City, and it goes safely through to the goalkeeper, Alex Palmer. You listen to BBC Radio Devon Sports, 16 minutes on the clock, still goalless then in the big Devon derby between Exeter City and Plymouth Argyle. Ryan Bowman with the best chance for City inside the first 3 minutes, put his header wide, and it's still goalless. Here come Argyle now, in the form of Cooper. Give it to Grant. That's a clever ball inside now for Sarcevic. First time shot. And Johnny Maxton had to do well there to fall on that one, because that was a good chance there, Sean.
Good football by Argyle. Again, they've been patient. They're getting it down. They're passing it. Played through to Sarcevic perfectly on his right foot, and I really fancied him to score there from a tight angle. But you've got to give Maxted, Exeter City goalkeeper, really good credit. He's got down very quickly and stopped the ball. And not only just he kept it in his body because Joel Grant was waiting to tap it in, he's kept hold of it as well. Good chance for Argyle.
Seth, your view of that one?
Well, Rodden and Joel Grant have been having to be very wary about being caught offside in this game, as City's back line are holding it pretty tight. So on that occasion, the first time we've seen it, the runner from midfield, Sarcevic, was able to break from deep, avoiding that offside, and managed to get his shot away. But Maxted well behind it, and good in these slippy conditions down here pitch side for him to hold on.
Rain continues to come down around St James Park as Argyle spray a terrific ball out to this left-hand side now, and Fadzine getting forward. And the cross will come in from Cooper. It's a good one, and absolutely terrific header coming in. Oh, really good defensive header from Aaron Martin, just nipping in front of Anthony Sarcevic. Much better in the last minute or so from Argyle, Sean.
Yeah, you're right about the lad Cooper. I've seen him play a couple of times. His left foot is fantastic. He's put it right into Sarcevic on his head. He's just going to head it, and it's great defending by, I think it was Parks who headed it out for a corner. Good chance.
Well, anybody who's keeping Danny Mayer out of the side must have something about him. Mayer on the bench, overcomes the corner. Sarcevic is free, flicks it on. The referee has spotted presumably some pushing inside the box. Didn't see it myself. Seth, you might have had a better view.
It was Zach Rudden who doesn't seem to like the attention of Aaron Martin this afternoon. He just had a little tug on Martin's shirt, and that's what the referee spotted.
Exeter City 0, Plymouth Argyle 0. You're listening to BBC Radio Devon Sport, the first big Devon derby of the season. Randall Williams is going to have to change his shirt here, because presumably there's a little bit of a rip in the top of it. So Randall Williams in a new shirt.
I think it's blood.
That was
where he's got blood on his shirt, I think they're trying to say.
Well, presumably whatever it was that was causing it must have stopped, because players are not really supposed to play on with blood injuries these days, are they? The days of Terry Butcher and Paul Ince are long since gone. Plenty of physicality about the Argyle challenges on Ryan Bowman, it would be fair to say, most of which have been allowed to go by Mr Drysdale. And they're going to know away with another one as the ball goes back to Alex Palmer, clears up towards the halfway line where Martin wins his header. Craig Woodman then gives it back to Taylor, the captain, and then the ball down that left-hand channel from Aaron Martin isn't accurate enough. Zach Rudden, ball goes a long way away from him, but Argyle should pick it up again close to the centre circle, and George Cooper with a great ball out to the right-hand side. Joel Grant tries to play it inside, looking for Joe Riley. It was a handball in there by Craig Woodman. It was accidental, but could have been given. Jake Taylor now breaking forward for Exeter City, tries to play it for Randall Williams. In fact, it's Ryan Bowman who goes out to that right wing position. Bowman then gives it back to the captain Taylor, who's got Sweeney in support midway inside the Argyle half of the pitch down the right-hand side. Jake Taylor helps it on to Nicky Law, two weight in the middle. Law can't get away from the attentions of his man though. Sliding challenge coming in, but still City has it. Now it's lifted in. It's just a little bit too high though, and behind it goes. And well, we are starting to see one or two chances at both ends now, Steve.
Definitely. I think Exeter's worry for me is, to be fair, Randall Williams is an out-and-out winger, and you're playing him as a right wing back. I think McFadden is very keen to get forward, and I think if Williams doesn't track him, Piers Sweeney's got a big job to do to cover that area. Once or twice now, I've just seen Randall Williams just drift forward, and McFadden's quite happy to play on his shoulder and play in behind. So that's something to watch as the game develops.
Yeah, it's almost like on occasions that City are having to go to 4 at the back as the ball's hoofed away now by Craig Woodman. But yes, not a position I've seen Randall Williams attempt to play too often. Jaden Richardson on the bench, by the way, for Exeter City, along with Atton Garner, Matt Jay, Alex Fisher, Dean Moxey and Ben Seymour, and of course the new South African goalkeeper Dino Visser as well. All lifted forward towards the edge of the Argyle penalty area where Josh Grant wins his header. Aaron Martin battles away for possession. He just wanted that little bit more. All loose inside the centre circle, tidied up by Taylor, helps it on to Sweeney. Sweeney immediately gets it out to the right hand side now, and Williams, who can try and tease his way past McFadden, a couple of little step overs, then the cross comes in. It's charged down at Sorso by Joe Edwards, and the ball ricochets out to the right wing position where it's picked up by Piers Sweeney. Gets it forward for Jake Taylor, tries to meg his way inside past George Cooper, can't manage to do so, and it will be a throw in for Exeter City. Your view on what's happening in front of you at the moment, Tom?
Yeah, Aaron Williams is getting a little bit of the ball more often than not now, and he's coming out to him, and he had 3-4 Exeter players in the box waiting for him to cross it, and he's trying to cut it back on his left foot, then he goes on his right foot and ends up giving the ball away. You know, he should be getting crosses in the ball because Exeter are getting bodies in the ball. In the box, sorry.
Throwing comes in, and Joe Edwards, one of the smallest men on the pitch, rises highest to tidy that one up for Argyle, but they haven't cleared their lines. Craig Woodman looking for options down the right hand side, doesn't have anything on, but Aaron Martin's crept forward down the left hand side, and he helps it on now to Lee Martin, hugging the touchline. Taunton born Cockney lad who used to be on the books at Manchester United, done really well. There's a little opening there, and Nicky Law just flicked off the top of his head there as he couldn't quite rise high enough at the nearer post, and there was nobody arriving the backstick there for Exeter City, but that could have been a real chance there, Steve. We'll come back. So there's a real chance there, Steve.
Oh yeah, and to be fair, Exeter's delivery into the box has been great. I think it's really put pressure on them, and here they go again, they're attacking with pace.
Taylor trying to play inside for Randall Williams.
Defended by McFadden on Williams. But yeah, to be fair, Exeter, when they're going forward, they're trying to work it in wide areas and put really good whipped in crosses and giving Plymouth defence no time to set up. So yeah, it's an entertaining game. I love the way the balance of the midfield at Exeter with Archie Collins and Jakey Taylor just sitting in and letting the three in front go, and the wing backs push on when they can. So there's a really good balance there, the Exeter team today.
Yeah, and there's an interesting mix of young and old as well out there, of course. Remember Craig Woodman coming in for Jack Sparks. Woody not that far short of being twice the age of Jack Sparks, of course. We don't know whether Sparks may have picked up a knock in midweek because he's not in the 18 this afternoon. Otherwise, there were 6 changes for Exeter City, the other 5 still waiting on the bench as Argyle just play a little bit of keep ball deep inside their own half of the pitch, but City aren't allowing them to rest on their laurels or rest on the ball. Still goalless, and City have managed to force a mistake and they pick up possession, and Josh Grant, the Chelsea loanee, comes across and dumps that one out of play. 24 minutes played. It is Exeter City 0, Plymouth Argyle 0 in the big Devon derby. Getting some fan reaction for you at half time in this one. We'll also be having a look ahead to Torque United against Barrow, which is of course a 3 o'clock kickoff. We'll have reporters at Plainmoor at the Brickfields, where Plymouth Albion are in National League 1 action against Blackheath this afternoon. Not sure whether the Tavistock Town match is on in the non-league, but we'll be getting a look ahead of, in fact I'm told it is off, but we will be having a look at what is being played a little bit later as well. Here it's a throw-in for Exeter City, lovely bit of skill by Lee Martin, gets it to Nicky Law, born in Plymouth. His dad used to play for Argyle. Not sure he's ever spent any great deal of time in the city after the first 6 months of his life, mind you, before Nicky Law Senior moved on to pastures new. Argyle have repelled that particular attack and they force it out of play for a City throw-in. Ryan Lowe gives the ball to Aaron Martin, who takes the throw-in quickly, gets it back from Tom Parks now, tries to get past Zach Rudden, plays it down the left-hand channel where it's met by the head of Josh Grant, and Exeter have it back now. It's Woodman, gives it to Bowman to Taylor, looking to get into the path of Lee Martin. Sliding challenge coming in there from Joe Riley. Just 1 or 2 little shrugs of the shoulders now coming in from the Argyle players. They're talking to each other. I'm not sure they've completely come to terms with some of the threats that City have been posing here, Sean.
Yeah, that's right, and they are getting good build-up play down this left-hand side at Exeter with Lee Martin. We had Lee Martin at Ipswich. He's a very good player. He's a championship player, really, so it's a good signing for him. And you got the likes of Nicky Law and Taylor, who are really good on the ball playing football, and they're just not letting Argyle settle and play their own game up in the moment, but they like to play it from the back, although there's a chance here for Cooper.
Yeah, key header on there from Joel Grant, and then Cooper. That's an awful ball. That's a terrible ball from George Cooper. But
Well, they've just broke away, Alan, haven't they? And it was a bad ball. He's tried to play Rudden in, but he's overhit it, and bad play really, because normally on his left foot he's half decent, is Cooper. I'm just saying, as I was saying earlier about Lee Martin, he's just beaten the fullback. He's got the beatings of the Argyle right back, and he's put a left foot cross in. And who was it popping in at the near post to try and get a header? Was Nicky Law. He's all over the pitch, Nicky Law, in this first 15-20 minutes, and he's the one that Argyle have got to keep an eye on, I think.
Yeah, 26 minutes played here. Time is, it's zipped through here. It is remarkable for a game that hasn't actually had that many clear-cut chances. Just the one save from Johnny Maxted from that effort from Anthony Sarcevic just 5 or so minutes ago. Might be tested here, though. It's an Argyle free kick down the right-hand side, taken by Cooper. Only picks out the header of Jake Taylor. He stoops to get that one away, and Lee Martin battles away for possession against George Cooper. And the referee in the end decides that George Cooper had a little bit too much hold of him, and it will be a free kick to Exeter City down their left-hand side. Let's get the thoughts of Seth Conway. A little bit more play down your end of the pitch in the last few minutes.
Certainly has, Alan, and that chance there for Argyle was a result of a mix-up between Taylor and Sweeney for City getting in each other's way, allowing Cooper to come through. And had he got the pass clear to Rudden was free on that right-hand side of the penalty area with a straight shot on Maxted's goal. So Argyle are certainly posing a little bit more of an attacking threat than we saw in that first 15 minutes or so.
Well, Pierce Sweeney, I think all the City boys have been encouraged to zip the ball around. He zipped it a little bit too hard there, and that's a strange free kick. It's going to be in Argyle's favour, but it seemed to me that the Argyle man ran into the City player there, Steve.
Yeah, to be fair, I just think over the last 2 or 3 minutes, I think Plymouth have pushed their wing-backs further on, and Exeter's wing-backs have got very deep, and it's almost like they've given Plymouth the incentive to go on, then go and play, and off the back of that, Exeter have conceded 2 soft free kicks, and it's a dangerous position, and again, to be fair, you've got to make sure you do these right, because this is where it can cause problems.
Well, there's 2 players over this free kick then for Argyle. Right-footed Joe Riley, George Cooper with his left foot. It's around about 30 yards out, so the wall has formed just inside the penalty area. 4-5-man Exeter City wall. Here comes Riley, gets it through the wall, and it's a good sprawling save at his right-hand post by Johnny Maxted, who fortunately had quite a good look at that one, you would think, Steve.
Yeah, definitely. It went through the wall, but to be fair, it was safe. It's a great run from Lee Martin here on their counter-attack again. It's another ball in the box.
Yeah, quick break by City, lovely play by Williams. Now Nicky Law with a reverse ball. Lee Martin with the shot, and he's slashed that a long way wide. Let's get the thoughts now of Tom Harris.
It all came from that Argyle free kick. Really, it was straight at Maxted, easy for him, and the counter-attack is where Argyle have looked in trouble, really. The first incident with the header early on, and this one again down this left-hand side. Randall Williams causing problems. Nicky Law, as we said, has been popping up everywhere. His creativity found Martin. Martin cutting on his left side. The shot high and wide over the goal, not too far off as Exeter come again here. Williams causing trouble. And that low ball is into the area. It's flicked over the bar. There is a second chance, and Argyle really need to shape up and turn on here. Exeter are turning on the style, but haven't found the back of the net yet.
Yeah, it was a sprawling late arrival in the penalty area there by Lee Martin, but that was dangerous to say the least, Sean.
Yeah, another good work again from Williams on the right-hand side. He's left-footed. He's put the ball across for Lee Martin. Just couldn't quite get there. Argyle are trying on the counter there, and they're offside. Joel Grant now is 2 or 3 times he's been caught offside. He's got to look along the line. But what Exeter are making Argyle play now is play the ball up to the likes of Rudden and Joel Grant. Now they don't normally do that. They like to get it down and play it out from the back because they're pressing so high at them. Exeter, Argyle are then centre backs are playing a long ball straight up to the 2 strikers, and they're not getting hold of it. And Exeter are coming through and breaking on them.
Craig Woodman midway inside the Argyle half of the pitch down the left-hand side. Gets the ball back from Jake Taylor. Gives it to the captain again down this left-hand side. He'll help it on even further now for Lee Martin, who cuts in from that left wing. Martin, ball looking for Woodman, is half cut out by Sarcevic and then run kindly for Zach Rudden, who tries to lift it over the top. And well, they don't necessarily have that many options going forward, do they, at the moment, Sean?
Well, for me, Rudden's coming too deep. Joel Grant is 30-40 yards away from him. They've got to play as a pair. When you're strikers, you've got to play together. You've got to be up front and work together, cause the Exeter defensive problems, and they're not doing that at the moment. And in fact, it was Rudden who picked the ball up in his own half and tried to play a ball to Joel Grant there instead of the midfield. Let the midfield players do that. You do your end at the final third of the game. You do your bit of play up there.
Argyle have possession inside the own penalty areas. They just try and relax momentarily, but Exeter City not allowing them to have the ball in any part of the pitch, and still they try and play a little bit of keep ball just in front of their own penalty area. Then they get a good spraying ball out to this right hand side where Joe Riley might just catch up with it. Well, he had a chance. Well, he had a long look at that one, didn't he? He never quite seemed to work out exactly where he was going to pitch, Sean.
Yeah, it's like a golf shot that. It just skidded on, then he didn't put any backspin on it, but a great ball out to Riley, and that's what he does well, and that's what Argyle do well with the both wing backs when they bomb on. But credit to Exeter, they're not letting them do it, although it was just a little bit too far, and as it pitched on the ground, he went out for a goal kick. So it wasn't bad play there from Argyle, and it's a good game, and the rain has stopped now. Nobody wants to concede a goal, nobody wants to lose this game, and it's a tight game.
It was Niall Canavan who played that delicious ball out from the back, by the way, and then holds his hand up to apologise to Joe Riley. But I think Riley had a good look at it, and if he could just worked out exactly where it was going to go, he should have been able to catch up with it one way or another down by the byline, but it just beat him. It has been very wet around Exeter for the last 24 hours or so, and high winds overnight as well, but those have largely died down. The rain easing off as well, and Exeter City have possession down the right hand side with Randell Williams. Williams shows it to McFadzean, gets a cross in, and Gary Sawyer's in the right place there, and brilliant play by Callum McFadzean to save the ball going behind from a corner, and Sawyer completes the clearance up towards the halfway line. Picked up once more by Exeter City, but momentarily a little bit of confusion there maybe between Lee Martin and Randell Williams, and Argyle managed to get it away again, and Joel Grant just holding it up, but immediately there's 3-4 red shirts around him. There's a foul in the end by Jake Taylor, and it will be a free kick for Plymouth Argyle. News of a goal in the Premier League, by the way. Manchester City have gone ahead against Aston Villa at the Etihad Stadium. It's Raheem Sterling on the score sheet in that one. Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 0 here at St James Park. 33 minutes on the clock here on BBC Radio Devon Sport, and it's goalless between Exeter City and Plymouth Argyle. Ball forward down that right hand channel. It's just in front of Zach Rudden. Johnny Maxted watched it very carefully, watched the run of Rudden as well, and he can let the ball go behind, and it will be a goal kick for Exeter City, which Johnny Maxted will wander across to the right hand side to take. You listen to BBC Radio Devon Sport. Exeter City 0, Plymouth Argyle 0. Into the second hour of 6 here across the station this afternoon. We'll be looking back on that fabulous England win in the Rugby World Cup for you a little bit later in the programme as well. 1907, they've beaten the defending champions New Zealand in Tokyo today, and they will play the winners of the Wales-South Africa semi-final, which is being played tomorrow morning. Exeter Chiefs, they were beaten at Bath last night in disappointing fashion, 13 points to 10 after being 10-3 up heading towards half-time. We'll have reaction to that one as well for you between now and 6. And of course, we'll keep you right up to date with what's happening at Plainmoor and also at the Brickfields. Torquay United and Plymouth Albion both in action. Here, Josh Grant has a bit of defensive work to do, gets it forward onto the head though of Craig Woodman, and Exeter City, as they have done for long periods in this first half, playing football in the Plymouth Argyle half of the pitch. Little push coming in from Joe Edwards. I don't think I had bothered to look exactly where Mr Drysdale, the referee, was before he made that push, because he had a perfect view of this, and this is a free kick 3, 4, 5 yards in from the touchline, and a good crossing opportunity this one, Sean. Yeah,
I think it was Edwards who had his hands all over Nicky Law. Again, he's causing problems. It was a definite free kick. He didn't need to do it. He's got his back to play at Nicky Law, and he was going away from goal. Now they've given a free kick in a dangerous area, and Nicky Law's on the ball. He's looking to whip an in-swinger in by the looks of it. Argyle have got two players in the wall.
Craig Woodman is the only player who's gone back for Exeter City. Everybody in a green shirt is back inside the penalty area. Plenty of animation in the Argyle end as well from the away fans at the moment. As Exeter City have a chance here. The big men are up from the back. Ryan Lowe just having a conversation with his team. It's taken short to Jake Taylor, tries to place his shot, can't manage to beat the wall though, overcomes the cross towards the back post, and the referee spotted a little bit of pushing, and it's going to be a free kick. Good chance gone there, Steve.
Yeah, to be fair, it was almost telepathic. You knew where the pass was going to go, and Plymouth were ready and they pounced on it, and then to be fair, it was a good little ball back from Jake Taylor to hang it to the bar stick, and to be fair, two lads from Exeter, I think it was Bowman and Law, just ran in. They were never going to win the header, so they gave away the cheap foul. So I can see the refs just trying to calm things down, but to be fair, Plymouth have done well the last 10-15 minutes. They quietened the crowd down, and it's gone a little bit quiet. Exeter need something to get the crowd back into it and get the game going in their favour, because over the last 10 minutes they've just sort of dropped off a little bit.
Bit of a conflab going on in the penalty area down Tom Harris's end. What can you see, Tom?
I think the referee is just trying to calm things down. There's been a couple of heavy challenges there and about, and the referee pulled both captains aside and just told them what for, really. And you wanted to keep that sort of derby feel without, there's a fine line and without crossing that line. But with that free kick there, I was just thinking, Nicky Law, there's a swirling wind around St James's Park today. You think, why don't you whip it in on the goalkeeper and make him work rather than relay it short? Argyle needs to get their creative men on the ball. Apart from Šarcevic's half chance, there's not been really anything from Argyle's midfield.
Argyle have a free kick and immediately Exeter City pick it up. Craig Woodman sprays it forward. There's 3 City players in the vicinity of that as well, but good calm header away by Niall Cannon, and Anthony Šarcevic under pressure though from the youngster Archie Collins, can't keep it in play, and it's a throw in for Exeter City, quickly taken by the veteran Woodman. Gets it back from Jake Taylor, back it goes to Aaron Martin, plays it down that left hand channel. Ryan Bowman gives it to Taylor with his left foot this time, looking for the run of Lee Martin. Niall Cannon's across to dump that one out of play for a throw-in then for Exeter City, almost level with the penalty area down the right hand side, and the throw-in is taken short. It's a lovely ball almost to Jake Taylor, but Josh Grant just held his ground and cleared it away up towards the halfway line. Another throw-in for Exeter City, and I would imagine if it stays like this in the final 8 minutes of this first half, Steve, City are going to be quite frustrated not to manage to get their noses in front.
Yeah,
aren't they?
Definitely. They've had the better chances, and I think they'll look back and think but I think the longer it stays like this, it probably suits Argyle more. But I still think Argyle haven't really got a lot going forward. I think the Joel Grant running just hasn't worked for them. It just doesn't seem to connection up there. But Exeter have tried to pen them in and try and counter-attack really well today, and I think that's the biggest thing, if they counter-attack. But how far can that go? I think we're 40 minutes now into the first half, and they need a little bit more. I think they're looking at Lee Martin. I know the coaching staff are speaking to Lee Martin and Nicky Law. Perhaps they change it up with the front three and how they can get more out of them.
Booking there for a late challenge from Ryan Bowman. A little bit of frustration there from the City man, who I think has been buffeted a little bit by the big Argyle defenders around him, and took a little bit of retribution there. Late challenge from him, and Mr Drysdale quick to show the second yellow card of the afternoon. Argyle now come up with the loose ball. It's Šarcevic, helps it on to George Cooper. Cooper out to Joel Grant inside the area now. A couple of little step-overs from Grant, then he gives it back to Joe Riley, who takes a touch. Oh, brilliant play again by Craig Woodman, who just stepped across him, took it away. Joe Edwards lifts it into the penalty and nicks off Jake Edwards on his way through. Randall Williams has lost it momentarily. Didn't seem to be too much from Callum McFadden. In the end, it's an offside flag as the decision. But Sean, you would imagine that as things stand, Argyle would be quite happy to get this in at half-time at 0-0 and regroup, wouldn't they?
Well, certainly so. I just think, Ryan Lowe, he's been shouting, barking instructions on you, and that was just typical of Argyle in this first half, in this game. Joel Grant, he's got one-on-one with Woodman, and he decides to turn his back. Instead of touching the ball to his left or right and getting a shot on target, he's inside the box, he's a centre forward, you've got to be greedy. He's turned round and laid the ball back to I think it's to George Cooper, and instead of trying to get
Williams
a shot
with
on
the
goal.
shots, and that's one sailed out of the ground as well over the top of the crossbar. Sorry to cut across you there, Sean.
Yeah, it just went over the bar, and I just think Ryan, as you said, I think he'll want to get him. He'll be happy with 0-0 at the moment. I just think he'll tell him at half time to be more positive. You're in good situations. You're not going to get many scoring chances, especially in derby games like this. Exeter have had one decent one, they've missed it. Argyle might only get one, and that could have been it with Joel Grant. just be a little bit more positive and just have a go. But you've got to give credit to Exeter. They've stopped Argyle playing out. They're playing longer balls, which doesn't suit them at all. I've watched them 3 or 4 times this season, and that doesn't suit Argyle. They like to play it out from the back, but Exeter are not letting them do that.
Throw in for the Grecians, level with the penalty area down the right-hand side, quickly taken by Williams to Sweeney, takes a touch, then gets a cross in, it's over the head of one man, and the ball just comes off the face of Jake Taylor, the captain, and goes all the way through to Alex Palmer, who bowls it out to the right-hand side, and Josh Grant, the one change for Argyle this afternoon, coming in for the unfortunate Scott Wooden, who picked up his fifth booking in a case of mistaken identity. Now Nicky Law, there's a foul inside the area and a penalty. Lee Martin hauled down, that's a decision from the referee. I know it's on the wrong side, but Tom Harris, your view of that?
I mean, I actually had the perfect view of it. The crowd is so loud, I am not sure that's a penalty. There was a mix-up between Josh Grant and the ball was flicked out. Comes back and there's a little bit of communication between himself and the goalkeeper. Grant goes to put himself in front of the ball. His man comes across, it's 50-50. I think it's a soft penalty. Certainly now Argyle might feel a bit hard done by. We'll see again on the replay. But Nicky Law has a chance to put City in front here, and arguably they deserve it.
Yeah, my feeling was it was a bit soft. We'll get the boys' thoughts on that in a moment. But Nicky Law is going to take this penalty. Born in Plymouth, of course, moved away soon after. Here comes Law, and he scores straight down the middle. Alex Palmer drives to his right-hand side. Just before half-time, Exeter City have their reward. It's Exeter City 1, Plymouth Argyle 0. Sure.
Well, that's come just from, as I just said earlier on, Exeter City had to give them credit, as I said. They're pressing the ball. Who was it that pressed the back four? Was Nicky Law and Lee Martin. It was a soft penalty, yes, but they've caused them into a tackle. Was it a penalty? For me, it wasn't. The referee's 10 yards away. He's given it, but you've got to give credit to Exeter City for closing Argyle down and making them make mistakes, forcing them in to make mistakes. They've given the penalty away just before half-time, and Ryan Lowe now can't go in at 0-0. So it's going to be a different team talk now, I think, for Plymouth Argyle.
Steve almost couldn't hear himself think there for a moment, but it looked a soft one.
Well, to be fair, I think Plymouth played themselves into trouble. I say Josh Grant, 2 minutes to go before half-time, you just put it in, play the ball forward. He was trying to wait for a midfielder to come, and Exeter sort of pounced on it, and they sort of killed themselves. It was a really, to be fair, 2 minutes before management of the team before half-time, and Exeter pounced. Is it a soft penalty? It's a silly challenge. Stay on your feet. I think the refs in these kind of situations were always going to give it, and they favoured it, and it was. And to be fair, Nicky Law is not going to miss. So, for me, on the whole of the half, I think Exeter deserved to be 1-0 up, and we were just saying that they'll be a little bit disappointed going in 0-0. Well, they've got 1-0 now, so Plymouth have got a lot to do to get back into this game for me.
Well, Seth Conway, I know, was some distance away from you, but what was your view of it?
Well, I had a diagonal look, clear straight through, and as Tull says, it was a silly challenge, because as Marta went away, as soon as the shoulder came in, and it was a shoulder movement towards the player, the City man went down. He was always going to go down in that situation, and the referee, from his angle, which was the same as mine, a clear penalty, which Nicky Law dispatched, sending the big bank behind me into raptures.
Yes, well, I suspect it'll be one that we'll be talking about after the game. Remember, we are staying on air from St James Park right through to 6 o'clock, and we'll be picking the bones out of this match as well, between 3 and 4, with Steve and Sean and various players, managers as well, as they come into the reporters area as well, so we can bring you their reactions as well. Can Argyle respond before half-time? Well, they need to get the ball to stick with them, because Zach Rudden couldn't hold on to it, and now Gary Sawyer doesn't manage to clear his lines properly. Randall Williams has done brilliantly to keep that one in. Jake Taylor wants it. Now Jake Taylor has it down by the byline, lifts the ball in as well, too high for Bowman. Josh Grant doesn't get it away properly. There's another tumble in the area, and this time the referee gives the decision the other way. Tom Harris.
I mean, if the first penalty that was actually given was soft, I mean, this if it was given a penalty would be ridiculous. Callum McFadden, it's just a 50-50, which he's come out worse off. Nothing doing. It is a foul for Argyle rather than against them this time. Argyle need to get their creative players on the ball. I wouldn't be surprised if Danny Mayer comes on at half-time. Rudden and Grant haven't really, they look like they've never played together, and this isn't suiting Ryan Lowe's style of football. Argyle haven't been able to play. Exeter have been brilliant at their game plan. They've stuck to it, and you know, they deserve to be 1-0 up at half-time. There's a lot to do at half-time for Ryan Lowe and Plymouth Argyle.
2 minutes of time to be added on at the end of this first half. We're just entering it now as Sweeney ducks underneath that one, and I'm not sure that it was quite what Tom Parks, who's a real no-nonsense defender, wanted him to do, because Joel Grant thought he might have been able to keep it in, so Tom Parks just had to scurry across to that right-back position and just shepherd it out of play, which he has successfully managed to do. And Johnny Maxted will just wander across in front of the big bank, who are making all the noise inside St James Park at the moment, as you would expect. Their side lead thanks to that penalty just before half-time from Nicky Law, and we've got barely a minute or so of this first period to go of injury time, as Josh Grant, that's a strange header from him. I think Joe Riley will get there first, but only just in front of Lee Martin, who's making life very difficult for him, and that forces the mistake. Craig Woodman picks it up. Aaron Martin to Taylor. Exeter City zipping it about. George Cooper does come in for his challenge, doesn't come up with a loose ball. Craig Woodman doesn't know whether to go left or right, but does know the final touch was off an Argyle man. He'll settle for a throw. Quickly taken. Josh Grant forces out of play. Exeter City not looking to waste time in the final stages here. They're camped in the Argyle half of the pitch, as they have been for long periods in the first half. Exeter City 1, Plymouth Argyle 0. Ball stabbed down that left-hand channel for Lee Martin, who was the player went down in that instant a couple of moments ago. Jake Taylor trying to thread it into the path of Ryan Bowman. Really well read though by Gary Sawyer, used all his experience there to deal with that situation. The ball dumped out of play for a throw-in for Exeter City down the right-hand side of the pitch. We are 10 seconds away from half-time, and interesting team talks for both managers. Exeter City in front, but only just. Now they do eat up the clock, as Piers Sweeney takes as long as he possibly can to take that throw-in. There it goes, half-time here at St James Park. It is Exeter City 1, Plymouth Argyle 0. Let's get the thoughts of our two summarisers. First of all, Steve Tully, former Exeter City right-back. Your thoughts on the first period?
Yeah, I think the scoreline, if anything, flatters Plymouth. I think, to be fair, I think Exeter fully deserve to be 1-0 up. I think they've created the better chances. They've put the ball in the better areas to go and attack the ball. And for me, they're the ones that create things off the back of being a really good counter-attacking team. They play with pace, they play with power. And to be fair, yes, the goal comes from the penalty, but they fully deserve to be 1-0 at this half-time.
Dicker, the Cornish side that is, for their fixture in the Cup, so we'll have the final results of those later on in the day. In the FA Vase, Bobby Tracy will play their replay for the attempted third time against Abingdon United, and that'll be played at Willands Silver Street, so that game is definitely going ahead. And the final one is Buckland will be travelling to Bridgewater in the Western League, looking to get their fourth consecutive win under the new system they have with manager Adam Castle. So like I said, we'll have those 5 games and results ready for you after 5 o'clock today.
Yeah, thank you, Jack. We will indeed. We'll also have reports of Plymouth Albion against Blackheath in National League 1 as well in the rugby. And we'll be touching on that fantastic win from England in the semi-finals of the World Cup against New Zealand after play today. But both sets of players are back out onto the St James Park pitch, ready for this second 45. Just one little travel update to bring you. One lane closed on the A38 at Newton Abbot. That's all day Exeter bound due to overrunning roadworks. But can Exeter City hang on to this vital victory here? They lead Plymouth Argyle by 1-0 in Devon derby. Let's hand you across to our commentary team of Steve Tully, Sean McCarthy, and first of all is Alan Richardson.
Yes, that shrill blast was from Mr Drysdale, as you'd imagine, and we are underway in the second half, and Exeter City just sprinting down the right-hand side in the form of Randall Williams, trying to make sure the ball doesn't go behind for a goal kick. I think he's just pushed it the right side of the corner flag, so it will be a throw-in then for Plymouth Argyle within touching distance of that corner flag in front of the big bank, which they're defending in this second half. Run through the teams when there's a break in play for you. Danny Mayo was warming up pretty vigorously during the half-time interval. Not on the pitch as of yet, but I would imagine that change is probably 5-10 minutes away. Jake Taylor pushes it back into the centre circle, where Craig Woodman has just wandered in from his left back duties momentarily. Then the ball goes back to Parks, who helps it on to Aaron Martin. That's really well cut out though down this right hand side by Argyle, and they take it over the halfway line. Rudden finds it through to Joel Grant. It's all a bit slow here from Argyle at the moment. They do manage to get players back goal side of the red and white shirts, and they're all now in front of Anthony Sarcevic, who has possession, tries to thread it through to George Cooper, doesn't manage to pull it off though, and the ball away will not be kept in the end by Lee Martin down that left hand side. goes out of play for a throw. So Exeter City this afternoon, Johnny Maxwell in goal, Pierce Sweeney, Craig Woodman, Aaron Martin, Lee Martin, Nicky Law, Randell Williams as a makeshift right wing back, Ryan Bowman, Tom Parks, Jake Taylor and Archie Collins. I'll run through the Argyle side for you in a moment or two's time. We are playing here at the moment. Pushing the back there from Randell Williams on Gary Sawyer, but the referee has let it go. He's let a lot go this afternoon. At least he's been consistent with that. Williams is then held off and well marshalled by Joe Edwards, and behind it goes for a goal kick for Plymouth Argyle to be taken by Alex Palmer in front of the big bank. In front of Palmer this afternoon it's Joe Riley, Gary Sawyer, the captain, Niall Canavan, Anthony Sarcevic, Joe Edwards, Joel Grant, Callum McFadze. The one change is Josh Grant, George Cooper and Zach Rudden all out of play, and City have it. Nicky Law to Ryan Bowman, to Woodman, to Law again, who's still popping up in unexpected places. He tries to lift it over the top here, but two City players have gone short and nobody gone long, and Argyle get it away, but City pick it up again. This is Randell Williams, back to Nicky Law. There's a 1-2. Now Taylor. Out to Williams again, hugging the touchline down this right-hand side. A push coming right in front of the referee from Gary Sawyer. And that's a cheap free kick that they've coughed up there, Sean McCarthy. Cheap free kick.
Yeah, again, it was Lee Martin again who went down for the free kick, which again I thought was a bit harsh. You know, he's gone down too easy, but if you got your arms over his back, you know, which Gary Sawyer did, then he's going to go down and he's given a free kick in a dangerous position with Nicky Law and Randell Williams. And again, Exeter City have started the brightest again on the front foot, and Argyle have had no answer for him at the moment. And I'm sure Ryan Law, just looking, we're above him at the moment. He's in deep thought. He'll be thinking of making substitutions if the game stays the same result in the next 10-15 minutes, that's for sure.
Experienced player Lee Martin, free kick taken by Randell Williams in towards the near post and flicked on and in, and City double their advantage in the opening stages of this second half, and it's a free header. It's a great header as well coming in from Tom Parks, his first goal in the red and white of Exeter City, and City are 2 to the good. Steve Tully.
What a delivery in from Williams, to be fair. Pace, power, the runs come across it, and to be fair, Parks got there quicker and he wanted it more than the Plymouth players. Great start to the second half, 2-0. Can't see Plymouth coming back from this.
Sean, just the start to the second half that Argyle were hoping for.
Well, I'm just looking at Sarcevic now. He's arguing with Gary Sawyer. He's telling him he's given a silly free kick away. That's what happened in the first half to give an Exeter a penalty, and it was a fantastic in-swinger from Randell Williams, and Parks has just got in front of his man and just headed it off the side of his head, and it's gone into the top corner. A great start for Exeter, and it's a poor start for Argyle, and I think there's something happening on the Argyle dugout, that's for sure, and there's going to be a substitution or substitutions in the next couple of minutes.
Yes, Byron Moore is stripped and ready to come on. Not the change we were necessarily expecting, but we'll keep an eye on that one. But goals 3 minutes before and 3 minutes after half-time have really swayed this game very much in City's favour. Let's get the thoughts of Seth Conway down behind the big bang.
Well, it was a great run from Parks. He arcs his run in, and it was perfectly timed. And Randell Williams, when he delivers, boy does he deliver. City attack again through Lee Martin.
Martin with a cross in, just too high for Williams, and it goes all the way to the edge of the penalty area. It'll be run out by Anthony Sarcevic down this left-hand side. Argyle now, of course, need to open up this game if they possibly can. Jake Taylor, it's a dangerous ball back. Joel Grant's in behind the goalkeeper, and that's a terrific sliding challenge there to deny what would have been an open goal for Joel Grant. It's Tom Parks. It was a mistake by Jake Taylor. He was already apologising for it when he saw the danger. Joel Grant got to the ball before Johnny Maxted, managed to push it past him, but Tom Parks, who's not the quickest, appeared from nowhere and managed to get to the loose ball before Joel Grant could stab it into an empty net. Corner for Argyle, quickly taken by Cooper. Canavan can't get his header on target. It's away from the edge of the area. Argyle will pick it up again down this left-hand side. McFadze takes a touch, then tries to arc it into the penalty area. Good header away by Ryan Bowman, and the ball ricochets out towards the left-hand side. Will be picked up by Craig Woodman. End-to-end stuff here at the moment. Woodman inside to Nicky Law. And then City will just calm it down a little bit, gives it back to the goalkeeper, goal scorer, Tom Parks. As the rain comes down inside St James Park again, Argyle seeing a little bit more of the more of the ball. We are going to see a couple of Argyle changes imminently. Give you news of those in just a few moments' time. As the cross comes into the penalty area, punched at the near post by Johnny Maxted, and that's up and over the head of Anthony Sarcevic. He'll have to retreat all the way back, almost to the halfway line to pick up possession. In the end, he has to settle for a throw. So Moore is stripped and ready to go. Danny Mayer also. Double change from Ryan Lowe. Moore was ready to go before that goal went in. I think we might see the change now. One team in Devon. That's the inevitable cry, I suppose, from the big banker. Reference also, I suspect, to the comments that Derek Adams made after Argyle won here in the league in their last visit 3 years ago when he was manager. And of course, he made the point that Devon was very green as a result of that. So Callum McFadzean is one of the players that's come off for Argyle. Danny Mayer is onto the pitch, and so too is Byron Moore. And Argyle have a throw-in.
Well, they had to do something up front, Alan, I think, didn't they? They just wasn't clicking, the two strikers, which was Joel Grant and Rudden. And Rudden's having to go off. Danny Mayer's now come on up front with Byron Moore. So they'll probably go a three-way attack now, Argyle, to try and change.
Hi, studio. Apologies, moment technical fault there. Don't know what the cause was. I'd like to break the weather. It's absolutely sheeting down here at St James Park, but you've not missed any action. It's still 2-0 to Exeter City, and Argyle just trying to push a bit further forward. So Byron Moore has come on, and Danny Mayer as well, Zach Rudden and Callum McFadzean, the two players who've been sacrificed, and George Cooper on the pitch at the same time with Danny Mayer. And it's now Gary Sawyer who'll get the ball out to or give it back to the goalkeeper, Palmer. It's all a bit slow and laboured here from Argyle, and Palmer just taking chances in the side of the D on the edge of his penalty area. It looks like George Cooper's come across to this left wing-back role, and Danny Mayer has moved into the position that was occupied by Cooper before that. But Argyle really need to do something serious about this, don't they, Sean?
Yeah, that's right. He's made two substitutions as Ryan Lowe, and Danny Mayer's actually gone just in as a number 10 in behind Byron Moore and Joel Grant, and he's going to try and change. He wants to get obviously Danny Mayer on the ball. He hasn't played for a couple of games. He's only come off the bench, I think, the other night, but he's just put his head to his hands. He doesn't know what's going on here at the moment, but certainly Exeter have been a better side. They started off again in the second half. Argyle have made the two substitutions, as I've just said, but nothing's showing at the moment. They need to get a goal back certainly in the next 10 or 15 minutes to get back into this game, Argyle.
Well, they did have that chance almost as soon as the goal went in, which was very much of City's making. A very poor back pass from Jake Taylor. Didn't look what he was doing, and Joel Grant took it past the goalkeeper, but Tom Parks appeared in his rear view mirror and just nicked it away as he was about to slide the ball into the back of the net. Now got an offside decision, so it's going to be a free kick for Exeter City. They lead their old rivals in this 69th meeting between these two sides by 2 goals to 0 here on BBC Radio Devon Sport. The head-to-head record, by the way, in the league does very much favour Argyle. They've won 29 to City's 19, but they're behind this afternoon. Palmer to Grant. Immediately met by Nicky Law, slides it into the midfield area where it's picked up by Joe Edwards. Edwards with a bit of space to move into, but that's quickly closed down by his opposite number 8, Nicky Law, and he has to go back to Canavan. Knocks it out to the right-hand side, and Grant helps it further forward down the right-hand side and then gets it back again. And finally City appear to be happy to allow Argyle to at least have a little bit of possession, but very much in their back-line area. And when they do try and come forward, Pierce Sweeney immediately cuts that one out. The final touches off a frustrated-looking George Cooper, and it's going to be a throw-in down this right-hand side for Exeter City. Back-to-back defeats for the Grecians, of course, on the road at Cambridge and Scunthorpe, but they've certainly reacted in a positive way today against one of their nearest and dearest. And of course, at the end of the day, sure, they're also a rival for promotion, aren't they, Argyle?
Well, that's right. I mean, I think they were the favourites at the start of the season, that's for sure. And just looking at this game now, I mean, for a team that, as Argyle, that have scored 6 goals and kept a clean sheet in the last 2 games, you wouldn't think it's the same team, other than just one change that was forced on them, with Josh Grant coming in for the suspended Scott Wooten. But they've looked a little bit rusty at the back, Alan, haven't they? And certainly they haven't even looked like scoring up top. And Exeter have got on top. They've seen that, they've hunted them down and they've closed them down, and they've forced Argyle into mistakes. And it's just not I don't seem an Argyle team at the moment, the games that I've watched this season. I can tell you the fans they're behind the goal. I'm just looking at them now. They've had nothing to shout about, and they won't be happy. They just need to show a little bit more effort and a bit of urgency, Argyle. They look to be arguing with each other and falling out, some of the players at times, and heads in their hands, instead of getting on with the game and trying to cause problems for Exeter City.
Well, they certainly seem to have done their homework, don't they, Exeter City? And I do know that Matt Taylor has been down to watch Argyle himself, and what he was saying in a couple of the interviews. I don't know whether Ryan Lowe has actually seen Exeter City firsthand or has just relied on scouting reports, but they've certainly done a job here, as Kevin Nanscadil also comes to the edge of the technical area as well for Argyle. Still City lead Plymouth Argyle by 2-0 here on BBC Radio Devon Sport, and no real signs of reaction from the Pilgrims at the moment. They do pick up a cheap free kick, which is cheered to the rafters by the 1,500 or so Argyle fans crammed in that little stand down at the St James Park Road end. Of course, it is the first time that Argyle will have come here and been rained on. The fans have kept dry. It is a covered stand at least. Ball lifted into the penalty area, nodded away though inevitably by an Exeter City head. It's a former stand at Barnet. It was flat packed and stayed at the Cat and Fiddle for about 3 years before they finally managed to get it in place as part of the improvements, which saw pretty much half of the ground closed for a period of time. But the new Adam Stansfield Stagecoach stand is full. It's pretty much full all the way around the ground. There's just a little bit of segregation that's been forced in as well, just to keep the 2 sets of fans apart. But plenty of chance, but it's all been good-humoured stuff so far inside St James Park, as Nicky Law goes into his challenge and denies Danny Mayer, who hasn't really got to grips with the game as of yet. Throw into George Cooper down this left-hand side. We'll have another go at this one. Just approaching the hour mark here on BBC Radio Devon Sport. Ryan Lowe continues to shout out the instructions in front of us, and Matt Taylor also. They used to play youth team football together for Burscough up in the northwest, in the days when Matt Taylor was a goalkeeper. Now they're having their first experience of managing a Devon derby, and it's certainly been a happy experience so far from Matt Taylor. Of course, does know a little bit more about these Devon derbies, having played for City for a number of years. Joe Edwards gives it to Danny Mayer, back to Edwards again, out to the right-hand side now, and Grant, who's crept a little bit further forward now. Grant gives it back to Sarcevic, forward to Joel Grant. Now Byron Moore into the penalty area, and he'll force a corner off the retreating Craig Woodman. Let's get some thoughts now from Tom Harris. Sure whether we can hear from Tom. It might be a battery problem there in his microphone, but hopefully we'll hear from Tom in due course. Over comes the corner now. That's met by City head almost inevitably. A good distance away as well. Picked up once more by Argyle. Joe Riley helps it out to the right-hand side again. Curled into the middle again. Goes an awful long way. It's loose inside the area. It's almost stabbed in. Great save by Johnny Maxton. And then the referee's assistant has his flag raised. Sure.
Magnificent save from Maxted. Unbelievable. He's had 3 or 4 bodies in front of him, and I think it was Grant who turned and swiveled with his shot, and he somehow got down and played it, palmed it away with his right hand, and the Exeter defence have cleared it. But that's 2 great saves he's made now as Maxted, and he certainly had a good game. He's only had the 2 saves to make, and he's done them. That would have been a fantastic time for Argyle to get back into this game, but credit to the Exeter City goalkeeper.
Ball is away now and flicked on well by Bowman, but there is Josh Grant just to get things back, and it goes all the way back to the goalkeeper Palmer. Little flick on by Grant, and just for a moment Aaron Martin was guilty of maybe of a little bit of ball working, and the ball now goes back into the centre circle area. Steve, your thoughts on what we're watching here?
Yeah, I think the next 10-15 minutes are crucial. Exeter don't concede, because at the moment, obviously, Plymouth have given it a real good go to get back into it. The longer Exeter come, I think they'll just keep it there. They'll be solid, but this next 10-15 minutes is crucial, because if they give Plymouth something, all the momentum's in with Plymouth, so they're likely to be 2-0 up. They come out firing all guns, but just taking a step back. Plymouth are having their moment of the game. We've just got to make sure now they just keep their nerve, keep doing things, defending like they have done.
Okay, those are the thoughts of Steve Tullier. Sounds like we're having 1 or 2 problems with Steve's mic at the moment. We'll try and work on that one, but in the meantime it's a free kick here for Plymouth Argyle on the edge of the penalty area. This one has been lined up, look of it, by George Cooper. Just outside the penalty area and pretty central as well. It's a short list of 1 to take this one. City have got a 6-man wall to try and deal with the situation. Drysdale's happy they are far enough back. Here comes Cooper over the top and over the top of the crossbar as well. Johnny Maxted was sprawling across to his left-hand side, couldn't get anything on it, and the ball is over and out of play. Sean.
Yeah, not a bad effort by Cooper with his left foot. You really would have fancied him there, because he has got a good left foot. Just couldn't quite get it up and over the wall and get it down. Went about 2 or 3 foot above Maxted's crossbar. So goal kick to Exeter at the moment. But another silly and soft free kick given away. This time it was Exeter City to give Argyle that chance to get back into the game. Too many silly free kicks in this game. Maybe it's the conditions. Exeter on the attack now. Lee Martin causing problems.
Ball out of play for a thrown down that right-hand side. And a throw in for Exeter City to be taken by Randell Williams. Takes it short. And still City battle away for possession, but George Cooper is strong. Joel Grant, though, is crowded out by the red and white shirts. They've been buzzing around all afternoon here at Exeter City. We'd never imagined it was then the extra 1,000 miles travelling in the last week or so. We thought that might be a factor. It may still be, of course, going into the closing stages of this one, but at the moment it's very much favouring Exeter City. Grecian's 2-0 to good here on BBC Radio Devon Sport. And we'll have all the reaction for you after this one between 3 and 4 o'clock on BBC Radio Devon Sport. We'll air right the way through till 6 o'clock as well, so we've pretty much got all the bases covered. Full commentary on Torquay United coming up at home to Barrow, by the way. That's on the BBC Online and the BBC Sport website this afternoon. Throwing down the left-hand side for Exeter City, deep inside their own half of the pitch. Let's just call in here from Seth Conway and know what's being said in the Big Bank at the moment.
Well, the City fans are obviously quietened down a little bit, because Argyle have started to get a little bit more play down the other end. But a few of them had a quick chat about that Tom Parkes goal, and they said it was just a perfect moment in a Devon derby. It certainly was, because it got the second goal that has given Exeter perhaps an unassailable lead.
Well, Argyle not done as of yet. George Cooper can't manage to get it back though to Gary Sawyer, and Exeter City working so hard at the moment, just doubling up all round the pitch. Danny Mayer, right-footed, but prefers to play down the left-hand side. He can only give it to Gary Sawyer, and he'll go back to the goalkeeper, Niall Canavan, to Joe Edwards. At least does have one good thing to look forward to, and that's the imminent birth of twin boys, which he was a little bit concerned might happen this afternoon. If it does, it's not going to affect his involvement in this particular match. Certainly hope not anyway. Argyle have only got one substitute option left to be made here. Nicky Law doing well for City. This is terrific stuff at times by City. Now Randall Williams has spun the offside trap. Williams for three, lifted over the keeper, and it is 3-0 to Exeter City. And it's a terrific finish from Randall Williams, and it's game, set and match here for Plymouth Argyle. Plymouth Argyle 3, Exeter City 3, Plymouth Argyle 0. Sure.
Well, they've just absolutely sliced through Plymouth Argyle's defence as if there was nobody there. Some fantastic football by Exeter City. Again, the instrumental playmaker Nicky Law had the final pass through to Randall Williams. Palmer come out to close him down, tried to stay on his feet, and he's just cleverly and coolly clipped it over Palmer's head, and it's trickled over the line, and he's done an Arab Spring flick-flack back somersault right in front of the Exeter City's bank end, and it's 3-0 now to Exeter City, and looks no way back for Argyle. You would think a lot of the Argyle fans are starting to walk out at the moment. This just isn't Plymouth Argyle today. It's just been they've been, well, poor really. I can't stick up for them as much as I'm trying to. That goal just summed it up. 4 or 5 passes, sliced right away through them, and not looking good for Plymouth Argyle. This could even be 4 or 5. I hope not. But they've got to do better than what they show in Plymouth Argyle at the moment.
Steve, it's all going red.
Yeah, game over. To be fair, they sliced through them like there was nothing there. They've been the better team, they've played in the right areas, and to be fair, Randall Williams has been solid down the right hand side. He made a great run inside, and to be fair, he coolly put it away. And 3-0, this could be...
there's a chance for a fourth as well.
This could be 4 or 5 now easily, because Plymouth seems to be going backwards and Exeter are going to on the forefront.
It was Ryan Bowman, and his shot was charged down. The big bang quite literally is bouncing. It's on its feet at the moment. Ryan Lowe has retreated back into the safety of his covered area, and 1 or 2 Argyle fans are making their way out the ground, but that was a great chance for a fourth goal. It's just deflected wide of the goal in the end. Over comes the corner, and it's still loose inside the penalty area. That's a poor clearance as well. Nicky Law helps out to the right hand side. Randall Williams dummies the cross. Now the cross comes in towards the back post. Free header coming in, and Josh Grant does well there as the header was back across goal. It was too cute an angle to go for goal, and now Argyle could just break out from the back in the form of Byron Moore and Nicky Law going sprawling in there, not once but twice. The referee thought about giving a free kick for the first one. He has given it for the second one, and it remains here. Exeter City 3, Plymouth Argyle 0. Let's just get the thoughts then of Seth Conway about all of that.
Well, Randall Williams is got an exquisite left foot. We saw it with the cross for the second goal, but when he is given the opportunity one-on-one, that experience that he gained at Watford, of course, showed to the full. He just drew the goalkeeper, dinked it over, and then, as Sean adequately described, well, excellently described, it was a fantastic backflip from Randall Williams.
Yeah, just a clash there, I think.
It was. And just to finish off, Alan, the looks on the players, the Argyle faces down here at pitch side, it tells a story. They look cold, wet, tired, and not up for getting back into this game.
Yeah, there's a head injury there coming together. Joe Edwards was the Plymouth Argyle player involved. He's okay, but not quite such a happy situation for Jake Taylor at the moment. Sean?
Yeah, it just looks like they possibly a clash of heads, or Edwards did have his arm up. There's nothing malicious about it. Taylor has got up. He probably has to come off the pitch now because the physio's come on. But you're going to get these challenges in local derbies. All the extra players are down by their dugout having a drink and getting some fluids back into them. Argyle are going to make another substitution. I think Clark's going to come on for Edwards. Probably try and change their formation slightly to try and get back into this game. But another couple of chances there. I think it was Bowman who had a chance to head it a goal from a cross again by Randall Williams, who's caused all sorts of problems, but he's decided to head it back in, and unfortunately for Exeter, they don't have anyone to tap it in. They could have scored another 2 goals. I just hope it doesn't get that doesn't happen, and Argyle have got to try and they've got to try and get back into this game, but they really are at 6s or 7s, and I can't see how they're going to do it. I really can't, from their last 2 results, to go to a performance like this, especially in a Devon derby. The fans ain't going to be happy, as I said earlier on, it's back to the drawing board.
Yes, nothing worse than a heavy defeat to your nearest and dearest. Let's just see if we can call in Tom Harris. Your thoughts, Tom?
Does it work? Hey, my microphone's finally decided to work. This is it's been a shambles, really. Argyle just looked disjointed from the get-go. They've had one chance where Sartre in the first half, and Sawyer got to play it short back to his goalkeeper there. In Argyle just haven't looked united as a team. I'm not really sure what it is. Certainly looking at their form in recent weeks, you'd have thought they'd have played better than they are, but City are the ones who are looking like they've just come off the back of 6 games unbeaten. They just haven't really got things going on. Their creative players haven't gotten the ball. City have made Argyle play in a way they don't want to play. City now, they've got the big bank behind them. They've got the sellout here. It's all going for City, and Argyle, the sooner this full time comes from, the better, to be honest, because this could be about 5 or 6-0.
Randall Williams with a little step over comes the cross. I think it was a cross. It very nearly nipped him down to the crossbar down the right-hand side. Fortunately, from an Argyle point of view at least, there was just enough height for it to clear. But let's just find out how close that was from Seth Conway.
It wasn't that close in the end, Alan. It drifted away. Probably was about 5 or 6 yards wide of Palmer's goal.
Still 3-0 then to Exeter City. There's Johnny Maxted, who's certainly not been worked too much. There was one shoddy save from Anthony Sarcevic, but otherwise it's been pretty quiet from him. Lee Martin just lifting the ball over the top of the head of one man, and then gives it out to this right-hand side, and Jake Taylor gives it back to Williams. Reverse ball to Lee Martin. Martin goes back to Jake Taylor, to Williams. Happening just outside the Argyle penalty area. We'll get the reaction of Matt Taylor and Ryan Lowe for you after 3 o'clock here on BBC Radio Devon Sport. Argyle trying to get the ball away, doesn't stick with them long, but Byron Moore forward for Joel Grant, who's not had the best of returns to Exeter City this afternoon, and who was signed by Derek Adams mainly on the strength of his display up at Carlisle in that playoff semi-final when he was virtually unplayable. But a lot of speculation that Derek Adams at the time was actually there to have a look at David Wheeler, who went elsewhere. Like the look of Joel Grant and signed him off the back of it. Here's George Cooper. Gives the ball forward. That's not a bad ball, and that one should drift out of play for a rare Plymouth Argyle corner. I'm not quite sure what Johnny Maxted's complaining about. The referee and his assistant got that one absolutely spot on down this left-hand side. St Drysdale just making sure that everybody stays calm. Over it comes from Cooper, goes a long way before it's met by City Head, who get it away, and George Cooper now will have to settle for a throw-in down this left-hand side. Matt Taylor and Ryan Lowe continue to bark out the instructions down below us. But unless there's a complete change in the whole pattern of this game, this match is very much done. Argyle have made their final change, by the way. Billy Clark is on the pitch, ball towards the back post, and that one's well claimed by Johnny Maxted, and it will be Maxted who will just take his time here before clearing away. But it's difficult to see any way back here for Argyle, Sean. Difficult to see any way back.
Yeah, that's right, Alan. I'm just looking, since McFadden went off, it's George Cooper who's got the task to try and keep Williams quiet, and he just isn't doing it down the left-hand side here, and he's causing all sorts of problems, is this Randall. I've been quite impressed with him, as I have with 4 or 5 of the Exeter City players, to be fair. I've not seen him play this season, and you can see why they've been up there for most of the season, haven't you? Surprised they'd lost their last 2 games, but they really have taken the game to Argyle today, and as you said, Alan, I can't really see a way back for Argyle at this moment in time.
Well, we'll get the team news from Playmore when we have a break in play here, but at the moment it's Argyle who win the battle for possession there, but only momentarily. Challenges continue to come biting in. Tom Parks forced to go sprinting back towards goal under pressure from Joel Grant, and Parks does well just to hold him off and force the ball out of play down the left-hand side for a throw-in. Quickly taken by Argyle. George Cooper gives it to the captain Gary Sawyer, another of the former Exeter City men, of course, on Argyle's books. And that's a dangerous late lunging challenge coming in there, and I don't think there's going to be too much doubt about the fact that this is going to be another booking there, Steve.
Yeah, I think it's been very comfortable since the third goal. I think Exeter very calm in possession. Everything through Plymouth is hurried and disorganised, and to be fair, there's only one team that's going to score another goal, and that's Exeter. To be fair, they've played with a real desire. I think it was the last time they played, was it 2 years ago, a local derby?
Yeah, 3 years ago.
3 years. So, and Exeter have really turned up today, and Plymouth haven't, and that's the most disappointing thing from the Plymouth side.
Free kick, hasn't got enough height on it. That's easily dealt with. Josh Grant just ducks out of the way of it, gives it all the way back to his goalkeeper, and that almost tells the story. There were boos from the Argyle end of the pitch as he turned and did that, and then he hits an aimless ball forward. You can almost see maybe why he did that. Let's go very quickly to Plainmoor. Team news there for Torquay United against Barrow from Sam Hunter.
Yep, I'm at Torquay United, Plainmoor. Lucas Coverland starts in goal, of course. Ben Winter, Liam Davis, Kyle Cameron has the captain's armband. Amani Little, Jake Andrews, Frank Vincent, Matt Booz, Jamie Reid, Robbie Cundy and Ben Whitfield is the lineup for the home side as they face Barrow in a clash relatively close to the top of the table as well. Both sides need to win.
Number 3, Liam Davis.
And you can hear commentary on the whole of that match on BBC Sport website and BBC Sounds from 3 o'clock. In other words, after we've done here, just a reminder, we will be picking the bones out of this particular one after we finish as well. Here's Randall Williams, lovely skill from him, goes for a curler, and that just nicks off the knee of Josh Grant, goes behind for a goal kick. Randall Williams, the former Watford youngster, has really come to the party this afternoon. Argyle haven't been able to live with him, and the Exeter City fans and the Big Bank, I'm pretty sure, can't believe what they're seeing here. It's 13 minutes left to play, and they're 3 goals to the good against Plymouth Argyle, and they have a corner as well. And you wouldn't actually bet against them being the side to score again. There's a little bit of pushing going on close to the goal line. One player of each flavour, as it were. They go for a short corner routine. Randall Williams dummies to give it back and then coughs up possession, but City, it's almost like they've got the extra man out there. They haven't, but it's a lovely ball down the left-hand side. Now the cross from Williams who goes across the face of the goal, and there was nobody able to get the final touch at the back post, Steve.
What a ball again, to be fair. Their delivery into the box today from out wide, it's been put with real intent, and it's really wanted the extra force to really go on the end of it. To be fair, Plymouth just haven't defended them, haven't stopped the crosses, and it's caused problem after problem after problem.
Well, it must have just been dabbed away by an Argyle foot there, because it is an Exeter City throw, and that was a vital interception if there was a touch in there. Nicky Law can't get it. Gary Sawyer with his right foot will get it up towards Joel Grant, who is immediately surrounded by 2, and then a third man gets back at him as well, and he just can't get away from him. And there's a little kick out there, most uncharacteristic there by Joel Grant. He only sort of half-heartedly did it at the back of Tom Parks' leg, not spotted by the referee. Play continues. Randall Williams climbs highest to get his header in. It goes all the way through to Alex Palmer, rolls it out underarm, but I'd love to see the stats, but I would have thought Exeter City players have put in several more miles running than Exeter City players put in several more miles running than the Argyle players, you feel?
Well, I think as I said earlier, we had Lee Martin in at Ipswich, and they had all the monitors on when they played, and he would come in with 5.5, 6 miles again. He would do the most running in the pitch week in, week out, and I think he's probably done more of that on his own than the whole of Argyle team put together this afternoon. I just really can't see. This is the worst I've seen Argyle player. I really didn't see this coming before the game. I said to Steve Tully, I said, I think possibly a draw. I think Argyle could shade it. Tulls was quite confident that Exeter would win it, and he's dead right. But Plymouth Argyle, for a local derby like this, and the fans selling 1,500 tickets or whatever it was in 35 minutes, and they've come to watch this, they won't be happy at all. And I just, I struggle to stick up for them and defend them. And as far as you say about running, they put the performance in Exeter City, not just with the ball but without the ball. That's what's caused Plymouth Argyle the main problems. They didn't let him play out from the back. As you said, Taylor's been down to watch Argyle play a couple of times. He's identified their weaknesses, and he's exploited it. They've closed them down. Here's Lee Martin again closing down Nicky Lowe, Bowman, and they've stopped Plymouth Argyle playing, and they deserve to win this derby if it does stay this score.
Ball out to the right-hand side for Riley, but again everything's shut for him going forward, so he just gives it back to Josh Grant, who rolls it across the back line to Niall Canavan, who goes to an ambitious ball out towards the right-hand side. And now Anthony Sarcevic can't quite keep it in. Nicky Law is the beneficiary though. He gives it to Lee Martin to Jake Taylor. Taylor goes back into his own half of the pitch and parks. Gives it short to Aaron
no
Martin.
Desire from Plymouth. God, it's a derby game.
Back it goes to the keeper now. And Maxted clears away. Good header coming in there from Gary Sawyer, all over the head of George Cooper, who's now playing at left wing back. He turns into trouble, quickly charged down by Lee Martin, and the ball ricochets out of play. But it has been a terrific performance by Exeter City in this second half, and looks to me like they're heading for three. Well, they're certainly heading for three well-worked points. And the mood down at your end must be absolutely terrific at the moment, Seth Conway.
It's fantastic. The Big Bank is alive with it. But what's impressed me, like Tulls has been saying, is the work rate from Exeter compared to Plymouth. Plymouth, when that third goal went in, the heads were down, but epitomised no better by Ryan Bowman, who chased at least 40 yards across the field for a sliding tackle for a ball that was just going to go down the line. That is the level of commitment from these Exeter players to hang on to this 3-0, perhaps not even hang on, see if they can extend it.
Well, remember, if Argyle had won today, they would have gone above Exeter City on goal difference. As it is, City are going to go back 6 points clear of them, and just wonder how the two sides will review the last 8 days. I'll come back to that point in a minute, but Exeter City once again knocking on the Argyle door. Taylor with a shooting chance, and it's hit the outside of the post. Nicky Law for the follow-up, and it is 4-0. It's a wonderful effort from Jake Taylor in the first place. So unlucky that didn't go in, but Nicky Law was in the right place at the right time. He celebrates in front of the Big Bank, and Exeter City are on their way to a famous victory, Steve. Steve, sorry, we'll come back to Steve in a moment. Let's just see what if we can hear now from Steve.
Yeah, to be fair, excellent strike from Jakey Taylor. To be fair, and who was following up? That man again, Nicky Law. Three Plymouth defenders there stood watching. Nicky Law taps it into an empty net, fully deserved, and this has been embarrassing for a Plymouth fan.
Well, now finally Exeter City are going to make some changes. Not that it's going to make the slightest bit of difference to the outcome of this game, but Nigel Attingana is stripped and will come on for the last few minutes. And Matt Taylor has got this one absolutely right this afternoon. And I just wonder, and you can certainly text us at 81113 and just put the word Devon in front. Just tell us whether you would have preferred to have had 6 points from the last two games and 3 in the Devon derby, this 6-pointer. Or drop them, as of course Exeter City have, but they've taken the bragging rights tonight, and they will be going 6 points clear of Plymouth Argyle at the right end of the table. Famous win for Exeter City. It isn't football a strange game. Leyton Orient 4-0 winners on Saturday, beaten 4-0 at Argyle, who themselves now go down to a 4-goal defeat. Here comes the players' change now from Exeter City. Lee Martin will come off, and Nigel Attingana is the player who will come on for him. Jake Taylor sprinting all the way across to the far side of the pitch here to take some more instructions on board from Matt Taylor. Second change sees Matt J come on. That is Nicky Law's final touch of the ball as well. Terrific applause from 3 ends of the ground, and needless to say the Plymouth Argyle fans not getting involved in this, as you would imagine, but they will appreciate what a good performance it is from Nicky Law, who was born in Plymouth, doesn't know too much about the city. His father played for Argyle in the late 80s, moved on very soon after Nicky Law was born. That's why when we spoke to him, he couldn't tell you too many of the landscape or landmarks of his birth city, but he's certainly been a thorn in their side, open scoring with the penalty, and looks like he may have rounded it off as well. I think Argyle fans might almost hope that he has. Gary Sawyer back to the goalkeeper, who's charged down by two. They're just swarming en masse at times here, Exeter. It's just like they've got 2 or 3 more players out on the pitch, really, Sean.
Excuse me?
It's like they've got 2 or 3 more players out on the pitch.
Well, it looks to me, Alan, that Argyle really have given up. It really does. I mean, that 4th goal just summed it up. Jake Taylor, ball's come out to him on his left foot. Nobody's closed him down, so he said, right, I'll have a pop. So he hits it from 30 yards. It nearly broke the post. And there was 3 Argyle players in the box, and they were all waiting to react. Who was anticipating on his toes? Nicky Law. He gets a simple little tap in. Had one of them Argyle players been on his toes and anticipating what the ball was going to do next, they would have got the ball and cleared that goal. They're on their heels. There don't seem to be any organisation, especially with the back 5 that they've played today. And it's surprising Exeter haven't scored 5 or 6. It really isn't. And we were talking about, running, just working on without the ball earlier on, and I never had many really good games with the ball, but what I did do off the ball, I would run and I would give everything I had, because there's no stopping that. Players are athletes these days. They should be able to run for 90-95 minutes. Argyle, look to me now, they've just given up, and it's Exeter that have done all the hard work, and they've thoroughly deserved this win at the moment.
Josh Grant out to the right-hand side. It's all very deep from Argyle. Now it goes a little bit further forward for Joel Grant. Tries to reverse the ball into the path of Joe Riley. That pretty much sums up their afternoon. It's too far in front of Riley. Goes out of play for a cheap throw for Exeter City. 4 minutes left to play here on BBC Radio Devon Sport. Remember, if you want to hear Talk United against Barrow, that's available for you online. BBC Sounds getting underway at around about 5 to 3 with commentary on that one. Sam Hunter and Paul Mulhern in the chair for that particular match. We'll have score updates as well from Plymouth Albion. They're playing Blackheath this afternoon. And for those of you listening on the radio, we'll also pick the bones out of this one. And the youngster Ben Seymour, who did start up on Saturday, is coming off. And Ryan Bowman, who's run himself into the ground, had a very good early chance as well for City. For a long time, that was the best chance in the match until that penalty. And just continuing the similarities really from that. The reverse similarities from that Argyle match against Leyton Orient on Tuesday night, where there was huge controversy about Argyle's opener when there was more than a hint of handball in the build-up there from Zach Ludden, which led to Argyle's first goal. The first goal here, of course, will be a talking point, because it did look, having looked at the replays, as if it was a very soft one. We felt it was softer at the time. The referee was given a decision to make, but having looked at the replays that are available, it does appear as if there wasn't too much wrong with the challenge. It was more of a stumble inside the penalty area by Lee Martin, who did make a dramatic fall there. Here comes City again down that left-hand side. They'll appeal for the corner. They'll get the corner as well. Maybe they're not yet done. Tom Parks, of course, has got an eye for goal. He's already scored one. He comes forward. Aaron Martin scored as well this season for the Grecians. Pierce Sweeney also on the score sheet for them. Craig Woodman, who was excellent in the first half and hasn't really been tested in the second, just will march at the back. Over it comes. It is met by the head of Sarcevic, helped out by George Cooper. Tries to shoot as the ball comes to Craig Woodman. He doesn't. Might wish he did momentarily, because Jake Taylor looked like he was going to lose out to Sarcevic, who lost his footing at the crucial moment, and City have it again. But they haven't continued that probe down that left-hand side. Williams stopped his run, ball back into his path, goes behind. And the big bank, Steve, is absolutely bouncing away to our right-hand side.
Yeah, to be fair, a brilliant performance. And to be fair, the balance of the Exeter's team's been excellent today. And to be fair, I must say, to be fair, Archie Collins in the centre of midfield, he plays years beyond him. He just sits in front of there, he picks the right pass. 90% of the time, he moves the ball from side to side. Not a lot said about him, but he is an excellent player. For 19 years of age, he's got a great future ahead of him.
Here comes Byron Moore down the left-hand side for Argyle, faced by two, and a third man, Atton Garner, thinks about getting involved as well. The 3 minutes of time to be added on, and Argyle will hope those 3 minutes go shooting by. It's been a bad day at the office for them. Over comes the cross into the penalty area. There's a lazy effort from George Cooper on his wrong foot, to be fair. Over the top of the crossbar it goes. But I mean, that in itself was a decent chance, wasn't it, Sean?
It's a chance, you know, and I'm just looking at his body language, Cooper's body language. Great ball into him. Okay, it's on his right foot, but you know, players got two-footed these days, 2 feet, and his body shape to try and get over the ball wasn't there. He's leaned back, so there's only one way that ball's going to go, which is over the bar, which is where it did go. And you know, even if you pull the goal back, it's something. You know, it's a goal to give the fans something to cheer about at least. But he never looked like scoring it, did he? And I don't think Argyle have looked like scoring in the 90 minutes, Alan.
Cheers.
Ball goes back to the goalkeeper. Slightly hurriedly clearance. Just got the table at the moment, and Exeter City, of course, will go second in the table as things stand. Argyle will stay 8th, but of course there's a whole host of fixtures to be played at 3 o'clock. I know there have been 1 or 2 games called off in the Football League, including the Championship this afternoon, but 6 games apparently in the EFL being called off. As ball's hooked forward by Matt J for Seymour. He gives it back to Randall Williams. Now Sweeney. Forward to Seymour, who had just gone offside there, the youngster. It was from Gary Sawyer, and it will be a free kick for Alex Palmer to take, but really very little that Palmer could do with any of the goals this afternoon. He gets it down the right-hand channel. Joel Grant tries a trick to get past his former teammate Piers Sweeney. It doesn't come off. Tom Parks picks up possession. Jake Taylor forward for Jay, holds off one. Really being harried by Byron Moore, who does come up with possession. Now Anthony Sarcevic just steps across and gets away from Jake Taylor. Sarcevic just goes sliding into his challenge. I don't think he saw his man coming across him there, Steve, but...
Yeah, to be fair, I don't think it shouldn't be any more than a yellow card, to be fair. We slid in, it just looked a lot worse than what it was. But that's what Plymouth have missed all today. A few tackles flying in to get them going. They just haven't shown any passion, desire or anything. What derbies are all about. And there hasn't been enough of them out there today showing that commitment.
Well, I was looking at the players who've been involved in these Devon derbies over the years. Obviously, Gary Sawyer's played in a fair few for Argyle, and otherwise Joel Grant has for Exeter City. But I think most of the players that have played in previous Devon derbies, and there aren't too many of them, are in the red and white, and certainly they've been much more attuned to what's going on and what to expect. Lack of communication at the back doesn't matter. Referee Darren Drysdale blows his full-time whistle. It's all over here at St James Park. It's a famous win for Exeter City. Steve Tully, you'll have watched plenty of these fixtures over the years. This must be the best City win that you've witnessed.
Yeah, definitely. I think, is it 3 years since they last played? I think, to be fair, that Exeter showed real desire, real commitment. They wanted it more than Plymouth, which, to be fair, for a derby game must be really disappointing. So I get Exeter are faultless, start to finish. After about 30 minutes, they threw a stamp of them. Even the first half, they create chance after chance and deservedly went in 1-0 via a soft penalty. But second half, they come out firing and they scored second, third, fourth, and not very funny, 4-0 flattered Plymouth.
Sean, your thoughts? A deeply disappointing afternoon for...
Yeah, I'm gutted really. I'm devastated. Although I've played for both teams, I'm probably siding with the Argyle now because that's where I live. But they just haven't turned up, have they, today? They're going over to applaud their fans, and I can assure you they won't be happy. You know, fair play to them. They're trying to applaud them, but they ain't going to be happy at all. They're going to go in work Monday morning now and face,